The first story comes from a family that moved into an old Victorian house. The parents thought it was perfect for their children, but soon, the kids began whispering about a shadow man who watched them from the corners of their rooms. At first, the parents dismissed it as imagination, until one night, both parents saw the dark silhouette standing at the foot of their bed. The figure didn't move, but the cold it brought was palpable, freezing the room in an unnatural chill. Objects started shifting without explanation, and doors slammed even when the windows were closed. Eventually, they moved out, leaving all the furniture behind, unable to bear the oppressive presence any longer. In the second story, a young couple purchased a newly renovated home in a quiet neighborhood. Everything seemed perfect until they started hearing footsteps in the hallway at night. The couple lived alone, and the sounds didn't match any logical explanation. Cameras installed in the house caught fleeting shadows, moving quickly across rooms, disappearing before they could be fully captured. One night, the husband woke to find a figure leaning over his wife while she slept, its face obscured, its presence heavy and suffocating. They left the next day, selling the house for a fraction of its value, too afraid to stay even one more night. The third story involves an apartment complex built over the site of a former mental institution. A single woman moved in, excited to start a new chapter in her life. Almost immediately, she noticed things weren't right. Doors opened and closed on their own, lights flickered at random, and sometimes she heard laughter echoing down empty hallways. One night, she awoke to a cold breath on her neck and a voice whispering her name. Terrified, she fled the apartment and later learned from neighbors that several tenants had moved out abruptly for no explained reason. In the fourth story, a family bought a farmhouse in the countryside, seeking peace and quiet. But the tranquility quickly turned sinister. Their dog refused to enter certain rooms, growling at invisible figures. At night, the family heard footsteps pacing the hallways, and the parents began waking with scratches on their arms and legs. One morning, they found a circle of dirt in the living room, as though something had been digging. They never discovered the source, but the oppressive feeling grew so strong that they abandoned the house within a month. The fifth story is about a newlywed couple who moved into a townhouse. At first, everything seemed normal. But soon, the wife began seeing figures in the mirrors, shadows moving independently of their owners. She would see a person standing behind her reflection, only to turn around and find no one there. The husband, skeptical at first, experienced the same phenomena: objects moving, doors locking themselves, and whispers in the dark. They installed cameras, but all recordings came back blank. The presence seemed aware of being watched, hiding just beyond perception. They left after a particularly terrifying night when all the mirrors in the house shattered simultaneously without explanation. The sixth story comes from a man who inherited an old apartment from his aunt. He loved the history and charm of the place but quickly discovered it was inhabited by something else. He would wake in the middle of the night to find his belongings rearranged, pictures of him and his family defaced with scratches that appeared overnight. One night, he found a note written in a childlike hand that read, "Leave before it comes." The writing appeared to float above the table, glowing faintly in the dark. After that, he never stayed another night, leaving the apartment locked and empty. The seventh story involves a single mother who moved into a suburban home with her 2 children. The house had been on the market for months, unusually long, but she didn't think much of it. Soon, the children began complaining about the lady in the closet, describing a woman with hollow eyes who would watch them as they played. The mother dismissed it until she experienced it herself. Doors would slam, objects flew off shelves, and she once saw a shadowy figure glide down the stairs. She sold the house quickly and never returned, fearing for her children's safety. The eighth story is about a young man who purchased a loft in an urban area. He loved the open space, but the strange occurrences began almost immediately. He heard voices calling his name, objects vanished only to appear in impossible locations, and sometimes he would wake to find deep footprints across the carpet that didn't match his shoes. One night, while working late, he felt something brush past him and saw a dark figure standing in the corner, just watching. Within a week, he moved out, leaving behind his belongings. The ninth story is perhaps the most unsettling. A family moved into a brand new home, built with every modern amenity. But no amount of technology or design could protect them from the darkness within. It started with minor things: flickering lights, cold drafts, and doors that wouldn't stay closed. Soon, the family began experiencing severe nightmares, seeing terrifying visions of unknown figures. The youngest child began speaking to friends who didn't exist. One night, all of them woke simultaneously to hear chanting coming from the basement. The family fled, never to return, leaving their dream home abandoned and untouched. These stories are a chilling reminder that moving into a new house doesn't always mean starting fresh. Sometimes, the past lingers, and unseen presences wait quietly in the corners of our homes, watching, listening, and waiting. Whether it's a shadow, a whisper, or a presence too strong to ignore, the experiences shared by these families suggest that the terror of a haunted house isn't just a story, it's real. Each story, while unique, shares a common thread: the feeling of being watched, of something wrong lurking in the background. It doesn't matter if the house is old or new, renovated or brand new, the unknown can take root anywhere. People often ignore warning signs at first, thinking it's imagination or stress, only to realize too late that some forces don't need permission to exist in our lives. In many of these cases, the families tried to document the phenomena, but cameras, recordings, and even friends could not capture the full extent of the terror. The presence seemed intelligent, aware of attempts to expose it, slipping away or hiding whenever attention turned directly toward it. This is what makes these stories especially terrifying. Not only do these entities exist unseen, but they also seem to manipulate reality around them. It's also worth noting that some of the experiences reported involve physical manifestations: scratches, objects moving, doors slamming, and shadows forming. These are not just stories of psychological unease, they are events that left tangible evidence. Many families left in haste, sometimes abandoning valuable possessions simply to escape the oppressive feeling that the house itself had become a predator. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, these stories are a testament to the idea that certain spaces carry more than just memories. They carry an energy that can be felt, an awareness that intrudes on our sense of safety. Moving into a new home can be thrilling, but as these accounts show, it's important to trust instincts and take notice when something feels off. Ignoring the signs may invite something that is best left alone. Some experts in paranormal activity suggest that new houses, particularly those built over older structures or previous homes, can inherit the residual energy of past events. The energy may not be malevolent at first, but with time, stress, or emotional attachment, it can grow into something more aggressive. Whether this is a scientific anomaly, a psychological phenomenon, or something supernatural, the stories shared by these families suggest a pattern too consistent to ignore. Even in modern times, when homes are filled with cameras, alarms, and other technology, there are reports of unexplainable events that evade detection. The presence seems able to bypass our attempts at control, remaining one step ahead. Families often describe it as feeling watched constantly, with a sense that leaving isn't enough to escape entirely. Sometimes, the memories of the experience linger, affecting future homes and the mental well-being of those who lived through it. These 9 stories serve as cautionary tales. They remind us that a house is not just a structure of wood and brick, it can be a vessel for unseen forces. While some may dismiss these accounts as imagination or exaggeration, the consistency and specificity of the experiences suggest otherwise. Cold drafts, unexplained sounds, shadows, and figures, all these are shared elements across multiple accounts. It's impossible to fully explain why some homes seem haunted and others do not. It could be the history of the land, the previous occupants, or something far beyond human understanding. But what remains clear is that for those who have lived these experiences, the impact is real. Families are scarred, memories linger, and the feeling of dread persists long after they leave. If you're moving into a new home, it's wise to pay attention to your instincts. Strange noises, cold spots, or the feeling of being watched may not always be imagination. These 9 stories remind us that the terror of a haunted house isn't just for movies, it can be frighteningly real. Families who ignored early warning signs often regretted it, learning too late that some presences do not wait politely for permission to exist in your life. While we may never fully understand the reasons behind these events, we can respect the experiences of those who lived through them. Their stories are a chilling reminder that sometimes, the worst horrors aren't in the past. They're waiting quietly in the walls, shadows, and corners of the very homes we hope will bring safety and comfort. In the end, these 9 true stories of new house horror reveal a truth many people would rather ignore. You can move in, but you may never truly be alone. Whether it's a fleeting shadow, a whisper, or an unshakable sense of dread, the experiences shared by these families will haunt your imagination long after you've heard them. Be cautious, be aware, and always remember that sometimes, the house chooses you, not the other way around.